Hi, I'm Brian Grant, and you're listening to On Time, the Brian Grant Foundation podcast about living with Parkinson's. If you want to know more about Brian Grant Foundation, go to briangrant.org.
Inspiring is a word you may hear a lot when you have a disease like Parkinson's. The resiliency required to live with a life-altering disease is just unimaginable to some. Yet, it's also not uncommon for people to live with more than one serious illness. So, how does a person cope with Parkinson's and one or more other conditions? In this episode, we're going to talk to our guest, Gigi van Rysellberghe, about her experience, and I'm joined by co-host Brian Grant. Hello, Brian and Gigi. Hi.
Hey, Heather.
How's it going?
No, I think it's going pretty good. I think we're all a little on edge about the walk, but we're looking forward to it. All of us participating and pushing one another.
Can't wait. I've been dreaming about meeting you at the finish line, shoving a microphone in your face and asking you a lot of questions. I can't wait. But we have a few questions today. Gigi, before we launch into your journey with Parkinson's, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a Portland native. I live in the Northwest Hills of Portland. I was an athlete most of my life until this knocked me down. I've got 3 kids, the oldest of which just found out today she's going to be doing a traveling fellowship in Switzerland next year for 6 weeks, which is very cool. And my son is in the middle, and my other daughter is here. And my son and daughter are here in town, which is great. Noel, my oldest, is down in Palo Alto. And my husband is not retired, but wishes he was, and he works at home, and it drives me crazy. And I have 2 dogs who you will probably hear at some point during this podcast.
Nice. And when did you find out that you had Parkinson's?
October of 2017.
So what were your first thoughts?
Oh, SHI. What? And I was devastated. Because I was coming off of a really big back surgery in November of 2015, and then I got cancer in January of 2016, and I thought all the bad stuff was behind me. So I was very upset, and I didn't really know anything about Parkinson's, and the man who diagnosed me said he couldn't treat me. So that was not a very good start to my journey with Parkinson's.
You had what many might call a triple threat going on.
Trifecta, baby. I had a trifecta. Yeah.
You must have felt like the sky was falling, like enough is enough. So you had the back surgery and also
breast cancer and then Parkinson's. Yeah. Thought I was done, but they say God only gets you what you can handle. He must think I am kick ass. That's all I can say.
Well, we know that you're fiercely, even ferociously optimistic. That does help us, and it helps us to get through our days and smaller things, I would say. I also noticed that there is an impressionist painter who shares your last name. Any relations?
Yes, my husband's side of the family. Yes.
Wow, good stuff.
We don't have any originals, but we've got a few prints.
Wow, so Theo's in the band.
He went by Teo. Yeah.
Really cool. And I know that you went to Scripps College.
I did.
And what did you study there?
Psychology and a little bit of business. Perfect for what I ended up being, which was professional sales. So I got inside their head, and they had to buy it from me.
Brian, we mentioned on our podcast that you've had 12 surgeries, none of them for Parkinson's. And, Gigi obviously knows something about that, but what are your 12 surgeries about?
Mostly knees and shoulders, and throw a hernia repair in there. Vasectomy, we can add that to it. Yeah, they were, some were minor, in and out, scopes. Then I have the big scar down the middle of my knee to show my total knee replacement that I had. I don't even remember what year it was, but it was a major surgery, and I also had a microfracture in my left knee repaired with the lateral release of the tendons. And that was when I was actually playing for Portland. That's why I didn't start my 3rd year, because I was recovering from those surgeries. But when you're an athlete and you're playing at the level I was playing at, not even at the level when you're active, period, you're going to tend to hurt yourself and need an orthopedic surgeon and do a whole lot of rehab. Those things I can relate to. I can do that kind of work, but with Parkinson's, it's different. There's no rehabilitation. There's things that you can do to help get you through whatever season you're in with this disease. But ultimately, all the work you put in and everything that you do it's going to eventually catch up to you.
Yeah. And so that affected your game. How did it affect the ability to live?
It definitely started to affect my quality of life when I went through the first memorable bout of depression that I'd ever been through. 9 months, deep, dark depression in a hole, couldn't do anything, lethargic, had everything right there at my feet, fishing, golfing, South Beach, swimming. And I didn't want to have anything to do with any of it. I didn't know why. And so, probably one of the biggest things, other than the physical tremors and things that I've had to deal with, is the depression. But, you get through it.
So there you were, living the life, as many people would call it. You have all these things at your disposal, all these people sort of swarming around you. And I've seen them do it. Even the ones who are silly enough to ask you for your autograph. I don't get that one, but so I've seen this happen, and you were probably thinking, what's wrong with me? When in fact, it wasn't something that you could control. It was not a voluntary thing that was happening to you.
No, it was hard to explain, especially early on before I knew that it was PD. I just thought that I was getting old, because I was going into my 11th and 12th year of playing in the NBA. And so I've seen older gentlemen who would be on our team, some of the things that they struggled with, and I was struggling with them, but there was something just different, with my struggle versus the struggles I saw them going through. And when other teammates and people started noticing it, I knew that at some point I was going to have to find out what was going on, not being able to go to ESPN and do tryouts and things like that was another bomb, dropped on me while going through the depression. But, all these things are good for me to look back on, and good for us to look back on and talk about it, because there's right now somebody they're in the same position we were in back when.
Right. Right. And that cycle of shame, like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get myself together? What am I complaining about? Many people have it worse, and so on and so forth. It's those things that we lie to ourselves about because depression is so hard to handle. And it's something that many people do feel ashamed about. So we have this thing called the positivity brigade that will come in and tell us all the ways we need to be happy and joyful. And that's not very helpful either. One of the things I love about this group, including Gigi, you, is we have a sense of humor about it, and yet we're not all Pollyanna. So going back to your medical trifecta for a minute, Gigi, how did you get through that period of your life?
When I found out I had Parkinson's,
All three, like,
all three of them,
how did you do that?
and I just put my head down. And, my mom was a 2-time breast cancer survivor. So I figured, if she could beat it, I could beat it. And back surgery was kind of an anomaly, but that was a tough one because I was depressed. I don't think I was clinically depressed, although my daughter would tell you otherwise. She's a physician. I didn't drive for almost a year. I wasn't able to put my own pants on. I wasn't able to tie my shoes. I mean, that was pre-back surgery, and I just had radiating nerve pain all down my right leg. And I couldn't sit down. That was which meant riding in a car was excruciating. So I would go to my friend's house, and they'd be like, "Oh, have a seat. We're going to do this." And I would, "No, I think I'll stand. Thank you. I'll be all right." And then the breast cancer hit, and I was like, "Okay, well, Mom can beat this. I can beat this." And it's a testimony to early mammograms, yearly mammograms. And then I finished that, and I was so stoked to just live my life. And we were planning a trip to go see my youngest daughter who was studying in Spain. And we went, but I couldn't tell her because I didn't want her to worry. And backing up a bit, my oldest daughter, who's a physician, was still in med school at the time, kind of put me through my paces. I said, I'm having this weird thing. And she put me through some of the tests, and she said, "You need to see a neurologist." My heart just dropped. I thought, oh God, there's something really wrong. So then I found out it was Parkinson's after we got back from Spain. And I kind of gathered them all together. They've been an incredible support network for me. They're just great human beings. I'm really very fortunate. And I just told them, I may have Parkinson's, but it does not define me. So that's what I have adopted. And, I work out, I do Pilates, I walk, Brian, you should come walk the hills with me. You'd really enjoy it. And, I just do the best I can every day.
Wow. I'm just pausing here because I'm getting a little emotional thinking about what you went through and how you've done it. To have that family support, it must be really nice. I'm guessing that that's how you cope with these difficult emotions. Was it hard for you to talk to other people about what you were going through outside of family?
Yes. Yes. I was embarrassed, actually, which is really a silly thing to say, you try to hide the tremors, put your hand in your pocket, try to, people would kind of look at you funny, like, what's going on there? But that now I'm to the point, like, meet somebody and they say, well, what are you doing? Or why are you doing this? And say, oh, well, I have Parkinson's. And I just tell them that that's what I have. And I face it every day. And one of these days, somebody's going to figure out a cure for the damn thing.
Brian, can you relate to that sort of loneliness that's described in the not being able to relate outside of the circle there?
No, I absolutely relate to it. And it's funny you should say you were embarrassed, because I was so embarrassed, like it was something that I did, like I wanted it or something. And just having that athlete's mentality since I was a kid, and going through high school, going through college, going to MBA, and that certain you got to have to be able to push through things. And you kind of get heady and arrogant. Well, not kind of. You get arrogant. I got very arrogant, thinking that, I'm untouchable. Look, I can get fixed up. Knees can get fixed up, hernia. And then
why can't they fix this?
Right. Yeah. Why can't you fix it? And then why am I so embarrassed about it? Because as much as I don't like to think of being vain in the way I look or the public perceives me, I'm absolutely vain, because that's all I'm ever shoved into.
Yeah.
Look, this is Brian Grant, this is Brian Grant, this. And so there's no reason whatsoever for me to feel embarrassed, for us to feel embarrassed, but it's just something natural, I think, that we go through until I can get to the point where I'm okay. But I'm 6'9" too. I also know that I'm walking like Andre the Giant through there with a little twist. So there are things that, I can joke about it now. Like, I wouldn't have joked with you 3-4 years ago about it, because it's taken that long to kind of shed the vanity.
It's a hard thing to shed.
Yeah. Well, for example, with basketball anyway, or, you mentioned you did sports too, Gigi, like we're noted for our speed, our agility, our smoothness of movement, our gracefulness. And now all of a sudden we're very stiff and sort of angular and moving in strange ways. I mean, I've become, maybe I always was, one of the most awkward people. Like, I was just telling Katrina and Brian before we got on this podcast, I was just telling them how I was cut off at a bar last night before I had even ordered a drink.
Seriously?
I approached the bar and she's like, I'm sorry, I can't serve you, ma'am. And I said, why? I'm ordering Coke. Like, I don't drink. Like, what? She's like, I can't serve you. Sorry.
What bar was that? Are you in Portland?
Yeah. But the funny part of it was I couldn't even get angry because I was super dyskinetic, like I am right now. And I had been, I've been struggling physically. But anyway, back to the speed and the agility. As a former dance teacher, I can understand why people would be a little bit ashamed, because we built a lot of our personality around that swagger, having that, walking in the room being smooth, like, picture any great dancer suddenly not being able to move correctly. It's very similar.
That was a really, really good scare. Really good scare. I did ski last year, but my double black diamond days, I'm afraid, are behind me.
Double black diamond?
They're behind me. I'm not doing that anymore, but I used to. I mean, I've skied my whole life, and it's one of my passions, and I'm going to have to readjust it a little bit.
That's got to get to Kevin Hart. Damn.
Well,
my husband tells him to slow down the chair so I can get on without falling off. And they do. They're really nice about it. So.
Yeah, you deserve a little break. Somebody's got to give us a break sooner or later, right?
Exactly.
It certainly won't slow down for us at any other time.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that, I know firsthand how hard it is to manage healthcare for chronic health conditions. And, how did you find the experience of managing your care and medications for these multiple conditions?
Just wrote everything down and followed it. I just, and Didn't want to miss any appointments, made all my appointments, made sure I was checked into my calendar, and I had them early in the day so I could get them behind me. And the chemo was really a trip because I'd started seeing an acupuncturist for my back, and she is phenomenal. And I call her my favorite witch doctor. She's glorious. Anyway, I had my first chemo, and I had an appointment with her the next day, and I was sick. I was so sick. And I texted her and said, I can't make it. There's no way. And she said, this is exactly why we scheduled this appointment. You need to get down here. So I never go anywhere in my pajamas and my slippers, but I went down there in my pajamas and my slippers. My husband drove me down, and she came out and got me into her office, which is an old house in Northwest Portland, and got me up on the table because I still couldn't get up by myself for my back surgery. And 3 hours later, I wasn't sick anymore. I wasn't, it was not pretty. Let's just put it that way. And my blood pressure was back up. I had color in my cheeks. And she said, and I've ordered you some pho, and this is where you go get it. They're expecting you. Oh, and an avocado milkshake. And so my husband came and got me. We went and got the food, and I went home and I ate it. And I was like a new woman. It was amazing. So I continue to see her. I saw her this morning, actually, weekly. And I can walk in with, real rigidity or bad tremors. And she doesn't make them go away permanently, but she certainly stops them temporarily. And my sister-in-law had a back surgery this summer, and she had ambulatory problems. She couldn't walk. She went in a wheelchair. She saw Ella and she walked out. I mean, she's amazing. So that's really helped me. And I just try to line up my meds. I'm not taking a lot of meds, but I am taking stuff every day.
What does Ella call her practice?
Hands on.
I mean, what type of, what modality is it? Like,
she's acupuncture and massage.
Great. I highly recommend those two too, but I've never heard of this. I want to get that.
Amazing. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah.
Wow. Brian, have you seen this healer?
I have not seen her healer, but she sounds exactly like my healer. Philippe Manicombe, rest in peace. He was from Guadeloupe in the French Caribbean. And I met him in Miami. And once I met him, I had tried 2 other acupuncturists up until the time I moved to Miami, and they were quacks. They were putting like one acupuncturist would put needles in, put little electrodes to the thing and turn it on, and my hand would start going like this. He goes, see, that's the needle killing the thing. I said, dude, I get muscle stim every morning, every day. I'm a professional athlete. I know what are muscles. You're just basically stimulating me with electric current. So I thought they were full of crap. I didn't think they worked. And then I met this guy. I went to the piers to buy some fresh fish from the fishing boats. He said, man, just let me try you one more time. I said, I don't really believe it. And he goes, just one try. One try was it. And when I'd have a tough ball game, which was damn near every night in Miami because of the workload we had, he'd had to meet me at my house. And I'd crawl up on his table. He'd do one between the eyes, do one on my knee, and then hit one in my ear and twist it, and I just out.
Acupuncture naps are the best.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I need the information, please.
Yeah.
I'd love to get her contact off of you.
So a skilled practitioner can make all the difference. And we try every healing modality we can find with Parkinson's. We will try just about anything. And I have tried just about anything. So I was wondering, what about, like, I know that exercise is number one for most of us. And Katrina tells us that your basement looks a little bit like an REI store. So that's fun. So clearly, I mean, being active is important to you. So
Yes.
How does this add to the picture of your management?
It just forces me to get out every day and do something. I do Pilates twice a week. I've recommitted to free weights. And I love where I live. I can just walk up the hill and I'm in the trails in Forest Park, which is really awesome. And so I know those like the back of my hand. And I just make sure I do something every single day. Rain or shine. Some days my dogs don't want to go out because it's too rainy, so I have to go out without them.
And some days your dogs are barking, right, Brian?
Yeah, these two dogs I had, I'm looking at them now. They're pretty rough. But
Yeah.
here's what my dog's dance.
A lot of slumber.
Oh,
Yeah, he knocked out. He's like, yeah, I don't have
I've got young dogs. They don't, my big dog just got spayed last week, and
Yeah.
I've been trying to sedate her, and medicine says it works. So I got more medicine, higher dose, different medicine yesterday, gave it to her. I went to take her out before I put her to bed. She was walking like she was drunk. She was just like, so we finally found one that worked.
Did she give you the stink eye? Like, you did this to me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Remember that? I do not like the cone of shame.
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't need a cone.
Oh,
First time I've ever seen. No cone. Not licking the incision, not chewing on it, nothing. It's just
wow.
like, I know.
If only we could be like that.
I know. I feel like some days I have the cone of shame on.
Hey?
Yeah.
I know one place that we won't have the cone of shame. The Portland to Coast relay team. What made you decide to participate?
I think we have the same reason. Jenny.
Yeah. Jenny definitely played a part in it, but I was hornswoggled. You know, I was yeah. I believe when you go in a bar and hit you over the head with a club and you wake up on a boat.
Those are the Shanghai tunnels, downtown Portland.
Yeah.
Shanghai.
Trina, yeah, okay, Shanghai. But there's a hornswoggle that I'm gonna look it up. I know that's a word, damn it. I've heard it before. But anyway, this gal, Katrina, it's just talking to me and nonchalantly says, yeah, thinking about us going out of the coast. I go, oh man, okay, great. No, she can't be talking to me because I can't run. I don't know how to run. And then they went from hood to coast to Portland to coast to such and such is doing it. And what do you think? I said, well, I think it could be fun. And that was the last input I got on it. I was on the team, getting my socks and sleeping bag and everything together. But it's going to be fun, though. It's going to be a good time, I think.
And any hopes or fears about the race for you, either of you?
Well, I just don't. I just hope that I'm able to finish both my legs with it. There's going to be problems. We got PD. Something's going to happen, but I just hope I'm able to finish both legs. That's my goal.
Mine too. And I talked to a man that I know because he sees the same Pilates instructor that I have, and we follow each other sometimes. And he said that at night watch the edge of the asphalt because sometimes it's a really sharp drop off, and you don't want to twist an ankle or a knee or something. So get your headlamp on.
Got it.
And for anyone listening who might be struggling with multiple health issues, what's your advice for them?
Positive attitude. You've got to just look forward, look past what's happening and look towards the future and hope that it's going to be better. Part of what helped me through a lot of the chemo stuff was my kids. They came home. They were both at U of L. And they alternated weekends coming home, just sitting with mom. My 19-year-old son, his 20-year-old son, sitting on the bed with me watching stupid movies. It was awesome. So you have to just believe it's got to get better. You believe in Heather?
I know everything is temporary.
Yeah, it is. Life is short. We got to stride through this best we can.
I can't believe I'm 50.
You're a baby.
I know, right? But in my mind's eye, I'm like baby. I'm like 32, maybe. Okay, man.
When my daughter turned 30, I said, "That's it. No more birthdays for you. You can have them, but we're not celebrating them."
I hear you.
Any words of wisdom you want to leave the audience with?
If your Santa Claus number shows up on your phone, yeah, don't answer it. Push it to voicemail. Or
Good job.
That's my advice. What do you got, Gigi?
You just got to believe. We got to keep moving forward and believe that someday this is going to break. And all the things that we do in order to live with this insidious disease is going to be worth it at some point. And if not for us, for somebody else. And I agree. Don't pick up for Katrina.
Thank you.
We're here with Gigi van Rysellberghe, and what were your final thoughts when you crossed the line today?
Oh my my God, I'm finally here. Longest 7 miles of my life.
Was it?
Yes. But I did it. I wasn't going to stop. So I just kept on going. But it was tough.
You've shown your perseverance and your tenacity in many ways. You're an athlete. You never give up. You always keep a good attitude, and you lift the rest of us. Thank you for being such an important and joyful part of our team. And thank you for inviting us to your home. Lastly, do you want to dedicate your walk to anyone?
You.
Aw.
Dedicate my walk to Heather. She inspires us all as well.
This is a
which is great.
Thank you.
No, and we'll do it again. We'll be back next year, and we're gonna get a sprinter van. So in case it rains, I'm not sleeping in the back of a van with 3 guys in front of me.
Yes, stinky feet.
Oh, stinky everything, and they snore.
And they say that we can't smell with Parkinson's, but some things are potent enough to break through.
Everything. So yeah, it was great though. And I'll do it again. I look forward to doing it again.
Thank you.
The Brian Grant Foundation empowers people impacted by Parkinson's to lead active and fulfilling lives. Help support our efforts at briangrant.org. A special thank you to Raphael Sadiq for providing the music for this podcast, and to Market of Choice for sponsoring the Portland to Coast team. This podcast is produced by Brian Griggs. Learn more at griggsproductions.com.